For our listeners who aren't familiar with TPS or just some of the principles, could you just give them a 60-second kind of crash course into it?
I just wrote 35, 40 pages on this. You want 60 seconds? So TPS, Toyota Production System, was born out of necessity. And in fact, before TPS was born, there was necessity. And so in the very early days of Toyota, they were a loom company. They made weaving looms to make fabric. You know this because you've been through the whole story. And from that came the concept of jidoka, which is badly translated as automation with the human touch. It's much deeper meaning than that. But essentially, it was the ability for a machine to tell a human operator when it had a problem, and in this case, when a thread broke. So that became the first underlining sort of principle of what became the Toyota Production System, was using machines to do the things that humans shouldn't waste the time doing, and then use the humans to make intelligent decisions and do the things that humans are better at doing. And that's where this idea of the machine can tell you when it was faulty, and then we could sort of execute and work a little bit more effectively. Fast forward a little bit. It's been longer than 60 seconds, but less than 2 minutes.
That's all right. As much time as you want.
So fast forward a little bit. And the son of the founder, his name was Sakichi Toyoda, was the founder. So this is Akio's great-grandfather or grandfather, I forget now.
Yeah.
And then but his son Kichiro Toyoda comes along, and he's the one who takes Toyota, as we know it now, into the auto manufacturing business by selling the plans, the blueprints to this original weaving loom to a British company in Birmingham called Platt Brothers in about 1924 for £100,000, so a bunch of money back in 1924. And Kichiro Toyoda muses with the problem of waste and muses with the problem, the fact that, post-World War II Japan, they have none of the materials, none of the resources, none of the capability of the West, especially in America. And so he muses with the fact that they've got to find a way to be able to produce more with less. So the concept of just in time was born. And in the new chapter in the book, I talk about this and some of the direct quotes and citations from the Toyota material that sort of talk about that. And so originally that becomes the second principal pillar of the Toyota Production System. But essentially, it was born out of need. TPS, Toyota Production System, born out of need, is that they couldn't afford the machinery, the tooling, the materials, and everything else. And to quote one of the key architects of TPS, Taiichi Ono, he said the fundamental doctrine of the Toyota Production System is the total elimination of waste. And that's a direct quote from his book with Mito-san when he wrote that. Book's one that sticks in my head. And of course, Kanban, there's lots of people will all be rushing around, and I've written a bit about Kanban to correct some of the nonsense there as well, became the sort of fundamental capability of TPS to enable just in time or this total elimination of waste to be enacted upon. And for the listeners, Kanban isn't just a board full of Post-it notes in to-do, doing, and done columns. So anyway, there you go. That's my 60.
And it's an amazing thing, and like we mentioned, it's applicable to everything, not just production. And it's the philosophy. It's the total elimination of waste. It's the continuous improvement. It's the Genshigen Butsu management by walking around. All these principles that come from this,
and we have to be sure that waste is. That's one of the challenges, and I suffer with it because I don't speak Japanese. I know lots of Japanese words and what they mean, but I have no ability to speak Japanese, unlike a lot of my friends and colleagues.
You and me both.
But when we talk about waste, what we actually mean is non-value-added activity. So any activity that doesn't add value to the product or process or the work that we're doing. When you use the word waste in Latin America, they just think of garbage or trash or rubbish, depending on your language. So it's important to qualify that, and sort of the understanding behind TPS is about identifying, say, the word muda, which is the Japanese word that's generically used for waste in lean circles, really talks about the uselessness and the futility of what we're doing. So when you dig deeper into the meanings, and I speak to a lot of Japanese people who understand the meanings of their own language, you start to realize it's more than just about waste. It's about really understanding the work we do, the deepness and the thinking behind the work we do, and actually understanding of futility, the uselessness, the pointlessness of some of the activity, which a lot of modern organizations would do well to focus on if we think about
Absolutely.